Paddy's gearing up for the GAA All-Ireland Football and Hurling. For all live TV championship games, it's money back as a free bet if your losing first goal scorer scores a goal anytime. Max £20. Excludes shops. T's and C's apply. 18 plus. BeGambleAware.org.
Hello and welcome along to the GAA Postcast. I'm David Jennings and I'm delighted to be joined by the man who scored the greatest goal I have ever seen at Croke Park, where he sold Dublin more dummies than a maternity shop. It's Tyrone legend Owen Mulligan. We also have our regular guest from sponsors Paddy Power, Paddy Ahern, and there is a treat in store in part 2 as well, when John Milan joins the party to preview his native Waterford's crunch clash with Cork in the Munster semi-final at Semple Stadium. So we've plenty to get through. Now, those of you who tuned in to last week's show would have heard me say the following. Paddy, I'm going to throw my twopence worth into the hat here, and I'm hoping you're going to agree with me. I think that Mayo are absolute certainties and that the 2-point handicap could be obliterated. Ouch. That's all I can say. Ouch. Bloody Mayo, they suck me in and spit me out every single year, and I was done again last Sunday. Anyway, there'll be more about Mayo later on in the show. But now, as we all know, the GAA hates to copy anything that soccer does. But we love the quick-fire questions at the start of the soccer podcast, so we've decided to rob them for ours. So here goes. We're going to kick off with 5 quick-fire questions, that's hard to say, for Owen Mulligan and Paddy Ahern. So number 1 is, and this to you, Owen, if you could pick any manager to manage your home county, who would it be?
Jim Gavin.
And why?
I just think he's a brilliant manager. The way he's got Dublin firing all cylinders, and his leadership and qualities are second to none, and just his whole calmness about the place is brilliant.
Paddy, same question to you. I know you're more probably of a hurling man, but who would you love to see managing Galway footballers?
Yeah, it would still be Jim McGuinness. I think he's still relevant enough, and the reason being because he basically, like the way you're watching Gaelic football these days, most of that is down to McGuinness. Like, he completely changed the game. He's an unbelievable innovator and thinker, and if any county apart from Donegal could get him, I think they'd be really happy, you know. The
big question is, could Galway afford Jim McGuinness at this stage? I think he's
more destined. Pat McDonough and Supermax has plenty of money. Jesus, we could afford anyone.
I think he's destined for Anfield or Old Trafford the way he's going at the moment. Okay, that's question number 1. Question number 2. If there was a transfer market, which of the following would be the best value? Stephen Cluxton for 10 million, Lee Keegan for 25 million, or David Clifford for 60 million? That's to you, Owen.
I'd have to go for Cluxton. You just see year in, year out, he delivers his kickouts, his calmness. He's a leader. You know, he's the captain of the Dublin setup, so you know he's great qualities and just accuracy. And at the end of the day, he took that pressure kick to win the All Ireland a few years ago. So that's what he's all about.
You're minding the pennies there, Owen. You're shooting low. Paddy.
Yeah, I think it's a great question. I think Clifford at 60
I came up with that myself now.
Yeah, well, yeah, kudos. No, it was a good one. Clifford for 60 million, you're kind of investing a lot into potential there. Like, he looks a great footballer, but I'd probably have to go with Keegan for 25 just because what he offers you currently, and like, he's a big game player. He didn't do a whole lot last weekend, but he'll still do a lot later on in the championship. He's still probably the best footballer of the 3 there anyway. Okay, dokes. Number 3, if the Footballer of the Year award was being handed out tonight, who would win it, Owen Mulligan?
I think Conor McManus is having a good season so far. You just seen him last week when the chips were down. He stood up, hadn't really the best of games, but still come out with 1-4, and he took a goal chance. If you give him a sniff of goal, he's going to finish, and I just think he's a brilliant asset, and he's probably one of the best forwards in Ireland at the minute.
Good answer. Paddy?
Yeah, like, if you're going on league form, you might say maybe Paul Geaney. Like, he had a brilliant league, but yeah, you'd have to really row in behind McManus because, like, he's been doing it consistently for the last 6 or 7 years now, and like the 2 games in Ulster, he's been absolutely fantastic. So yeah, I'd go McManus as well. 2
votes for Conor McManus. Number 4, short kickouts are the longer the better, Owen?
Well, it seems to be keeping possession the number 1 thing in Gaelic football at the minute, unless you've 2 big, massive midfielders with great hands, great catch. You'd opt for the long kick out, but I think short kick out for primary possession is the one to go for me.
What about you, Paddy?
Yeah, I'd probably just, with the mark being introduced in that, I'd probably go longer the better. Like, if you look at teams, like, they didn't do as much as I'd liked, I'd say, but when Galway go long, like, they've two huge midfielders that are well able to catch ball, and Kildare are making great use of it as well. I think Kevin Feely has recorded the most marks since league and championship started, so I'd probably go longer the better.
Now, I have to have a say here because I'm goalkeeper for my local club, Dunderry. And in the last 3 years, I have never seen anything change as much in Gaelic football as kickouts. 3 years ago, every kickout went long. Not that I had a long kickout. Now, I'd say at the most 2 in a match go long. I think possession is the name of the game. So number 5, and this is an interesting one as well. Mulligan, who is your favourite Sunday game pundit?
I'd have to go to my fellow neighbour, Joe Brawley.
Controversial.
A good Derry man. No, look, he speaks the truth. So he does. He's not afraid to say what he has to say, and he doesn't hide behind anything like that there. Plus, deep down, he's a massive GAA fan. He does everything for the game. He does everything for other things outside the game. So even though he gets a bit of flack, I still think he's a decent fella, and I'd go for a pint with him anytime.
That would be an interesting point now to have. I wouldn't mind joining that too some. Paddy, who's your favourite Sunday game pundit?
Tomas O'Shea's impressed me since he started, but I'd say Brawley as well, just because the platform he gives to the game, and everybody's talking about Brawley nearly more so than the games like in the week or the couple of days after, and I think he's good for the sport, so I'd say Brawley as well.
Okie doke. So there's our 5 quick fire questions, Gaelic football related, but do stay tuned because we've got the 5 similar style questions for John Milan on the hurling side of things, and they are not to be missed. So lads, just a quick reflection on last week's action. You heard what I said before last week's match about Mayo and Galway, and once again Mayo let me down badly. It's been the tone of the last decade for me. Owen, what did you make of the match in Salthill?
As I said, I fancied Mayo very strongly that day too. I just think Galway surprised them with their physicality, their fitness, their willing to win, their drive. So, it's the same old Mayo again. I don't think the back door will do them any harm. I know when we played for Tyrone in the early 2000s, we got a backdoor run. We played 10 games, and you want to get momentum. It's good for team bonding. It's good for fitness. So, look, Mayo had an awful lot of chances wasted, but I think Galway was the better side on the day, and they well earned their win.
And they're obviously a bigger price than the big 3 or 4, but could you see Galway sneaking into the All-Ireland reckoning?
I just think it's a bit too soon for them yet. They're a young team coming up. There's great potential there. There's people talking about them, but again, it's maybe a year too soon for them, I think.
A year too soon, Paddy?
Yeah, maybe. Like the big worry I think with Galway is there is a fair bit of inconsistency there, and I think what Walsh is good as doing as a manager is kind of targeting teams when Galway, or even when he was Sligo manager, when they're underdogs, they really seem to analyse teams really well. And then you kind of look at a game like Tip last year where it was like they'd never seen Tip play before. It was just like kind of complete underestimation of teams that mightn't nearly be as good as them. Like, they are going to have to come up against Kerry probably, like, if they get to a semi-final, and there are going to be big teams coming through the qualifiers, like the likes of Mayo, the loser Tyrone, Donegal, and even Meath and Kildare are going to go into that side as well, so they're going to have nothing easy. I'd probably agree with Owen, it might just be like a year or two too soon, but they're definitely team in the up, there's no question about that.
So lads, in a word, who gets further, Mayo or Galway? Owen?
Oh God, I'm going to have to say Mayo, but as again, you know yourself, have let us down in the past, but I still think Mayo for the experience.
Okay, we've one vote for Mayo. Mayo are one of these teams where one of these years you just hope they're not even allowed to enter the Ireland Championship because it just costs us so much. What do you think, Paddy? Who's going to get further, Mayo or Galway?
I think Galway will get further because I think Mayo are going to have it so hard in the qualifiers. Like that second round qualifier that they come into, they're guaranteed. Like I said, they'll have kind of Meath, Kildare, or else they're going to have Tyrone, Donegal. After that, it probably gets a little bit easier with maybe Cork and like most likely Roscommon, the kind of the Connacht loser. But like, it's a really, really hard side to draw. They're pretty much definitely going to have Kerry in a quarter final if they get that far, and I think Galway have a better chance of going further if it gets to that stage.
Now, we spoke a bit earlier about Conor McManus and his influence for Monaghan. Owen, how good is this Monaghan team?
Yes, they're very good. They've been on the up. Sonny O'Rourke took them over. I think he's now in his third or fourth year. He's a top manager. He seems to get the best out of players. You see the Hughes bars, McManus as well. They're great. They're great at driving forward. Their fitness. They look leaner team. They're very good at breaking out of defence. That game against Kelvin last week was so tight, and then McManus stood up and been counted. As I said, he's doing it for 3 or 4 years, all consistently. He seems to pull everybody with him, and if he plays well, the Monaghan team play well, and he's probably one of the best forwards in Ireland at the minute.
So that's Monaghan. Paddy, moving on to Cork. I can't make head nor tail of them. Second half, they looked quite good. First half was possibly the worst performance I've seen from any team at any level of football, including an under 10 Division 4 match that I played in for my club. It was atrocious in the first half, wasn't it?
Absolutely brutal, yeah. Like, I couldn't believe it. I ended up back in the -1 after Quinn Levin went off, because I just thought, he's just so huge to tip of kind of nothing off the bench. And, if Cork are anyway useful, they should kind of go and win this at a canter. And they were blessed to get out of there too. You say, how do you make head nor tail of them? I don't think they're a good side. But the funny thing is, coming up to this game, I didn't really think they were a good side 2 years ago, and they really should have beaten Kerry and Killarney. Nothing kind of makes them stand to attention more than the sight of a Kerry jersey. So, they might have a chance within staying 6 points there, but they're not a good football team in my view.
No, I'd have to agree there. Now, moving on to this weekend, lads. Hopefully there's money to be made. And Owen, Tyrone v Donegal, Clonus, 2 p.m. Sunday, live on RTE. This is what it's all about. This is one of the matches we've been really looking forward to this year. And how is the Tyrone camp at the moment? And your have you any little nuggets for us? How things are going in the camp?
This is the one game. These are the games in Clonus where you miss playing as a player. The sun's out, 2 p.m. The crowd's buzzing, and this one's a really tough one to call. I was there last year in the Ulster final, and it was a kick of the ball. Petey Hart with an absolute miraculous score to win the game for them. It could go either way. Tyrone are going well. Their forwards are going well. Tough trainings and very fit. So, look, I'm going to stick my head in the line here, and I'm going to go for my home county by a couple of points.
Who's the best of the forwards, Owen? You're obviously looking at you are one of Tyrone's best ever forwards. If we're looking at this Tyrone team, who is the closest to O'Mulligan at the moment?
Look, I was blessed to play with the likes of Peter Janovan and Stevie O'Neill, but I'm a big fan of Darren McCurry. I just think he's an excellent player, both-footed. He hasn't really been started this year, but has come on and scored 4 or 5 points, and that's the sign. I think Mickey Hart has to go with his best team this week, and I think Darren McCurry will start. He's been Tyrone's marquee forward in the last couple of years, and it's just a big day. He's missing out on, so he has to shine. The pressure's on him, and hopefully he can do the business on Sunday.
Now, one of the criticisms that's levelled at Tyrone has been that forward unit. Is there enough scores in them? Is there goals in them? Now, I'm a huge fan of Niall Sludden. Do you think that's an unfair criticism against Tyrone? 22 points against Derry?
I do think it's unfair. I just think it's the way Tyrone play. Sometimes I think they're very defensive. They're maybe forgetting to attack. They've got that in their mind. Let's defend all the time. As I say, I'll agree with you. Sludden is a class act, a great playmaker. But as I said, they've got it in their mindset that they have to defend all the time, and sometimes they forget about scoring. They haven't scored that many goals in the league, and as you know, goals win championship games. I'd like to see them maybe hit the back of the net a couple of times in the next couple of championship games, and hopefully they go a bit further.
Now, Paddy, as you well know from speaking to me every week on this, I'm a huge fan of this Tyrone team. I think they're probably the most underestimated team in the country. Now, I know you have a polar opposite view, so I'm guessing that you're going to be tipping Donegal on Sunday.
Yeah, I'd be tipping Donegal now, but I wouldn't be completely gung ho about it either, because Tyrone, I'm kind of cribbing them from the stage of being up there with Dublin and Kerry and being proper contenders for the All Ireland. In a game like this, it's just going to be so tight that they'll obviously definitely have every chance, but it'll be kind of like the Mayo game last year. It'll be like the Donegal game last year, where it'll be just so tight, and it'll come down to pot shots. So like if you can get Sean Kevin at the end of the ball, if you can get like Peter Hart at the end of it, then Tyrone have a brilliant chance of winning by a point or two. But like if you stop those two guys, Sludden has a good chance as well. Like he's a good score taker, but like. I just keep coming back to that Mayo game last year where they just couldn't get the ball to the right people, and you've got guys like Colin McCarron, who's a really brilliant footballer, but you don't want him 40 yards out with a shot to win the game. Like that would be my biggest problem with Tyrone. Like sometimes they don't give themselves the best chance because they don't have their scorers on the pitch. Like a guy like Lee Brennan probably at this stage should be due to start for Tyrone, but like Hart has named his team now. I don't think that team is going to start because you're going to have to play either probably Justin McMahon or
just a quick
Colin
note
McCarron,
on this naming of teams. Will they just get rid of it? You shouldn't have to name. Why do managers have to name their team? Why give the opposition an unfair advantage? No namings. No, name a panel and that's it. Am I right?
Yeah, I think maybe. Look, the managers are trying to get into main games and things like that there. So of course they're going to put dummy teams in the tippers, and if they can get ahead of anything or make the other manager think what's going on, they're always going to do that. And I don't think it's ever going to change, to be honest. And say if in a bad situation, it's kind of wrong for us because we're lowered into like a false sense of security, and you're going to bet on this and bet on that. So no, I don't think it's ever going to change. The managers are always going to get that one step ahead.
Yeah, well, I think it's traditional bullshit that needs to go. Name a panel, 1 to 30 or 1 to 24. They're your squad numbers. That's the way it should go. But then again, it's comes from soccer and it won't be used. Anyway, getting away from that tangent, Paddy, just give us some prices on the Tyrone Donegal match and the handicaps.
Yeah, I will indeed. At the minute, we are 3-4 on Tyrone, 7-1 Donegal, or 7-1 the draw. Sorry, 6-4 Donegal. Tyrone -1 is 11-10. Handicap drop 15-2, and Donegal +1 is 10-11.
So quickly, lads, the best bets on this match are. Owen, we go to you first.
I'm going to go with Tyrone by 2 points.
Tyrone by 2 points. So just to beat the handicap, I think it was 13-11 last year. So a similar type of scoreline in store, according to Owen Mulligan. Paddy Ahern.
Yeah, I'd probably go with Donegal, but I'd probably go on the draw no bet market. There's around 5-4, 11-8 there because the draw's a big player here as well. It's going to be very tight.
And what price the draw?
The draw is 7-1.
Okay, doke. So there we go. It's going to be tight in Clonus, according to our two experts. Now, moving on to a game that should be slightly higher scoring than the match in Clonus. Meath and Kildare in the semi-final Leinster Championship, live on Sky Sports at 7 p.m. on Saturday evening. And Meath scored 27 points against Louth. As I've said already, could have had at least 4 or 5 more goals, perhaps 5 or 6 more points. Kildare are a team on the improve with Cian O'Neill in charge. Owen, how do you see this one going?
Yeah, it's going to be a tough game. If Meath's physicality as well into the bargain, but so tight in Leinster at the minute. You've got Dublin now streaks ahead of everybody, but is Meath coming back? Are they trying to emulate these glory days? You just don't know what you're going to get with Meath, but I kind of fancy them. I fancy Meath by a couple of points as well. So it'll be a tough game.
Okay, dokes. And Paddy, Meath, I know Kildare are slight favourites, aren't they? Just rattle through the prices there.
Yeah, well, of course, yeah. Kildare 10-11, draws 15-2, Meath are 6-5, -1 Kildare 5-4, 8-1 handicap draw, and Meath +1 is 4-5.
And your idea of the winners are?
Probably, I think Meath have a really good chance. I think it's a game that's really going to suit them because they're going to be a loud scorer. They're going to concede a lot as well, but they have a lot of scorers in that team. And yeah, gun to my head, I'd give Meath a huge shot.
Okay, doke. So that's 2, and we'll make it 3. 3 votes to Meath in that Leinster semi-final. And very, very quickly, lads, Roscommon and Leitrim. Who do you fancy in that one? Roscommon are obviously strong favourites. Paddy, what's the betting?
Yeah, it's an 8-point handicap, I think now. So it's 1-14 Roscommon, 20-1, and 15-2 Leitrim. And yeah, it's an 8-point handicap, even money Roscommon, 11-1 the draw, and 10-11 Leitrim +8.
Okay, I'm going to put my head in the block here. I don't think this is a good Roscommon team, and I think Leitrim +8 is the bet. Agree, Owen?
Yeah, I think I definitely think Roscommon will give them a good defeat now. To be honest with you, I think Roscommon's the favourites for me, and I stick with that.
Paddy?
Yeah, the money we're seeing is actually like we were a 7-point handicap, and there was good bit of interest in that. I'd be with you, DJ. To be honest, I'd say Leitrim probably +8 if I had to have it.
Yeah, I'm just they're one of these teams that I think they're just not a happy camp at the moment, I don't think. Kevin McStay, a great fella, but I just worry a little bit for Roscommon this year. Now, we've got a whole host of qualifier matches. We've got Westmeath v Offaly is the replay in the Leinster Championship. We've got Louth and Longford, Wicklow v Laois, Sligo v Antrim, and Waterford v Derry. Of those 5 matches, Paddy, your strongest fancy in them, or we'll give you 2 at the most. So 2 picks from those 5 matches.
Yeah, no, but I think Laois are going to beat Wicklow pretty well. Like, I know Wicklow performed pretty well against Louth, but this is a kind of a Laois team that if they can get a bit of steam ahead, they could win this by a big score. And I think Donald Kingston is going to play really well as well. Like, he's about I think he's 5-1 for first goal and maybe 6-4 any time around there. So I'd say Laois and him to score a goal or 2 is probably a decent bet. The only other one I kind of would have any opinion on, I think Antrim might give Sligo a bit of a game. Like, Niall Murphy's going to be back, but David Kelly is out and Keane Breheny is out, so I don't know if Sligo are going to have much coming off the bench, and it could be kind of a tight enough game. So I think Antrim at around 5-2 mightn't be the worst bet in the world.
Okay, so a shout for Antrim at a pretty generous 5-2. Owen, of those 5 matches, what would be your strongest fancy?
As I said, I'm going to go with my neighbouring county, Derry. I think they scored a right few against Tyrone. In patches, it looked very good, looked very organised, broke at pace. But I think the Tyrone just pulled away the second half, and Tyrone looked a bit fitter than them. But I think they'll regroup with Barton and McGuckin in the helm there. So I fancy Derry to do the job on Waterford.
And what's the handicap there, Paddy?
The handicap is 5 as far as I'm aware.
5. So would you expect them to win by 6 points or more, Owen?
Yeah, well, I would. They've good scores. They've good scores, and we'll go up and pull forward there. So I expect them to score high and get the shackles off.
Lovely stuff.
Yeah, it's -5. James Keith is going to be back for that as well. So -5 at evens. So.
Yeah, absolutely. James is a big boost to Derry. And of those 5, the team that I think are slightly overpriced are Longford against Louth. I think Louth might be a little bit overestimated by the layers here. What price are Longford, Paddy?
Longford is 6-4.
Slight bit of value there, I think. So that's part 1 of the show. Before we move on to part 2, just mention our competition winner from last week was Brian Kerwin from Dublin, who wins a €25 or £25 free bet, which will be credited to his Paddy Power account. This week's question, which you can answer with the hashtag postcast. So if you know the answer, just put the hashtag postcast in, is who scored the opening goal in the opening few minutes in last Saturday night's Leinster clash between Wexford and Kilkenny. So who scored the first goal in last week's Leinster clash between Kilkenny and Wexford? Hashtag postcast and put your answer, and the winner will be announced in next week's show. So that's the end of part 1.
Paddy's gearing up for the GAA All-Ireland Football and Hurling. For all live TV championship games, it's money back as a free bet if your losing first goal scorer scores a goal anytime. Max £20. Excludes shops. T's and C's apply. 18+. BeGambleAware.org.
Welcome back to the GAA Postcast, and we have a real treat in store now as the legend that is John Milan has joined us. Now, John, I was at home last weekend and my folks didn't have Sky Sports, so I had to listen to you on Radio 1. My God, you must have been bloody knackered after that 70 minutes. I have never heard a co-commentator get into a match so much. It felt like you were playing full forward.
Yeah, no, I got a bit excited, all right, but no, it's very easy to co-comment on a game that is exciting as what we witnessed last Saturday night down at Wexford Park. And I suppose you get so engrossed in it, and it was a fantastic result for Wexford, and I think the whole country, it wasn't a celebration of Kilkenny losing. I've gone on the record, it was a celebration of Wexford winning and pushing on and getting to a Leinster final for the first time in 10 years.
Absolutely, it was uplifting for everybody, even people that had no involvement in the game whatsoever. It was just one of them results that kind of made you smile. I think everybody was in the same boat, especially those that took the 3-1 on Wexford. Now we're going to kick off with 5 quick fire questions. We did this in the football, so this is going to be very interesting in the hurling. So John, if you could pick any manager to manage your home county, which is Waterford, who would it be? Obviously without Derek McGrath. So who would you pick?
Micheál Donoghue.
Okay, interesting. Why?
I suppose, look, I've seen the remarkable job he's doing with Galway at the present moment of time, and he's He's up to date with the modern game. He's young, and he's very tactical, astute manager, and I think he would be a perfect fit for Waterford.
That would be interesting. Paddy Ahern, if you could pick any manager to manage your home county, which is Galway, who would it be?
I'd nearly go flip reverse, and it's going to sound like I'm copying, but I would actually take Derek McGrath for nearly the exact same reasons. I just think he seems to be a really, really brilliant manager, and with the type of player that he'd be coming into in Galway, I think he'd be an absolutely perfect fit.
I'd absolutely love to go for a pint with John Milan and Derek McGrath. How good of a couple of hours would that be? Sipping a few pints, listening to the lads talking about hurling.
That'd be easily arranged.
Well, Dave, we can arrange that now. If you want to pay for the hotel alongside Coppers now, we can arrange that, no problem.
The Jackson Court.
So maybe the end of November now, if you want to follow through with that, I'd be happily obliged to do it.
I'd even take a big king size bed and sleep in the middle of the two of you. That's how much I love both of you. That's how far my love goes. Now Aoife mightn't be too happy with it, but that's how far it goes. I think we need to move on from this. Number 2, if there was a transfer market, which of the following would be the best value? Michael Fennelly for 10 million, Conor Whelan for 40 million, or Joe Canning for 60 million? John?
Joe Canning, for the simple reason, if you're looking for success, if you're looking for scores, it's a bit like the football. Liverpool going out spending 30, 40 million on I'm not saying the other lads are average, but if you want to go that extra mile and spend the extra 20 or 30 million, and you're going to be guaranteed success, I'll go out and pay it, and that's why I think Joe Canning guarantees you scores and he guarantees you success.
Paddy Ahern, Michael Fennelly for 10 million, Conor Whelan for 40 million, or Joe Canning for 60 million?
Yeah, no brainer. Canning, best hurler in the country, one of the best hurlers I've seen, and yeah, 60 million is probably cheap for him, I'd say.
Okay, 60 million is cheap. Okay, number 3, if the Hurler of the Year award is being handed out tonight, who would win it, John Milan?
One of two for me, Joe Canning or Lee Chin, but going on last week's performance down in Wexford Park, the man was just what did George Foreman call him? The lean killing machine. So I'd go for Lee Chin. He was unbelievable last Saturday night.
It was a phenomenal performance, I have to say. Paddy Ahern, if the Hurler of the Year award is being handed out tonight, who would win it?
Yeah, I'd probably throw David Burke in the mix as well. He's a brilliant year up to now, but what Chin did last Saturday was absolutely unreal.
And those that bought the Racing Post when we had the GAA supplement would have seen Lee Chin tipped up to win an All-Star at 9-1, I think.
Definitely big price. Now, he didn't actually play that well against Laois, but Jesus, last Saturday was absolutely phenomenal.
He's 2-7 now, so I think he's. If there's I think if there's All-Stars given out in the morning, I think he'd be guaranteed. And I think it's another half decent performance, and I think you could be guaranteeing that he'll be getting that number 8 or number 9 jersey or number 10 jersey come November.
Absolutely. Okay, number 4, short puck-outs or the longer the better, John?
Well, I suppose I played in a Waterford team that, we always used to go long, very rarely went short. We used to land the ball down on top of Dan Shanahan and Seamus Pendergast. So for me, I'd be a long puck-out man.
Paddy?
Yeah, keep it simple. Big men the half-forward line and hit them every time.
Yeah, I'd have to agree. I think it's different to football. I think it's you're dicing with danger and hurling with the short puck-outs. And I think tradition is going to win over here. With the longer the better. Number 5, who is your favourite Sunday game pundit? I am really looking forward to John Milan's answer here.
Jesus, you really put me on the spot here. I'll go for Lucknan. Ger Lucknan, I think, I like him. He's I've come under a bit of controversy from before, but I like him. I think he's bang on the button a lot of the time, and he's not afraid to give his opinion on stuff that needs to be said within the game. And I think his article on a Monday in the Star is a very good read too. He's always interesting. So for me, I go for Ger Lucknan.
Ger Lucknan for John Milan. Paddy Ahern?
I'd probably go with Anthony Daly. Just impossible not to love the guy. He was such a leader on the pitch. He's such a great manager, and he just comes across as such a decent fella, and he knows exactly what he's talking about. So I'd go with Dalo.
Yeah, he seems like an absolute gentleman, doesn't he?
Absolutely.
He looks like one of these fellas. He doesn't have a bad bone in his body. I'm sure people that played under him would disagree, but
well, I tell you, if you want to bring a fella on a night out, he's your man. So if you want to go, Derek McGrath, myself, and Anthony Daly. So if you can,
jeez, we need a bigger bed, John.
well, I'm sure now Dale will be happy to jump in that bed. So he's a good man to go on the beer with. So I'd be happy obliged to bring him along with us.
I think we should set up a campaign now. Let's make this night happen. Copper some Sunday night. Geez, I'm getting carried away now thinking about that. So I think we have to just quickly reflect on last weekend's game. I know we spoke about it already. You were doing co-commentary on the radio, John. I suppose the question that comes out of the game are Kilkenny goosed? Is this Kilkenny team finished?
For me, I think they have a formidable task to push on and win the All-Ireland. The bookies don't lie. When is the last time Kilkenny were 8-1 to win the All-Ireland? I think, I was looking at it with the draw. I think, there's a strong possibility they're going to have to win 2 to 3 games even to get to Croke Park for All-Ireland semi-final day. Then through the years, I've seen it when they win All-Ireland, they like to go through the front door, keep it to within four games, Leinster semi-final, Leinster final, and then they have the 2 games. They're at the time they run, and I think that all goes out the window now. I just can't see him winning the All-Ireland. I said it as far back in April. I wrote an article in the Independent, and I said that there's a couple of lean years. They were going to go back to the lean years of the 1990s, and an awful lot of people kind of were taken back by it and kind of said, well, look, Kilkenny are Kilkenny at the end of the day, but Kilkenny are not Kilkenny at the end of the day. The fear factor is gone, the aura about him, and people are even starting to question Brian Cody now. So for me, I think I've gone on the record, I said it during the week, there's going to be an awful lot of doubts in that camp, and for me, I don't see any way back from him. Now they could prove me wrong, they could push on and win the All-Ireland and get to an All-Ireland semi-final, but I think if Cody pulled this one off, Jesus, he'd be an unbelievable achievement, and he'll probably be up there with his greatest ever achievement of all time.
It certainly would. And to flip that over, Paddy, for all that at Kilkenny, it's all doom and gloom. I presume people woke up in Wexford last Sunday morning, 7 o'clock, and just set up early, smile on their face, putting the kettle on. I'd say that smile is still, with Wexford hurling fans, I'd say there's a real buzz around the place. You heard management talking during the week on different radio stations, and there is a big buzz around Wexford right now. Are Wexford All-Ireland contenders, Paddy?
There's no question there's a buzz around there. I was saying yesterday that they're still showing the repeats of the Kilkenny games in pubs. I'd say the pub trade has taken a savage upturn now in the last week or so. Look, they proved last week their work ethic. They're a really, really good side. They're going to find it very tough from now on. They'll go into Leinster final against Galway as underdogs, and then it just I wouldn't completely rule them out against Galway, but every game from now on is going to be really hard. They are kind of a young enough team as well. They've gelled really well. It's going to be really hard to win an All Ireland, but look, they're doing everything right so far.
And in a word, lads, would you rather back Kilkenny to win the All-Ireland at 8-1 or Wexford to win the All-Ireland at 9-1? I think I know your answer here, John.
Well, look, I suppose Wexford only have to win the 3 more games to win the All-Ireland. So, I mean, I go along the lines of backing Wexford to win the All-Ireland. I don't think either of them will win the All-Ireland, but if I was to pick one of the 2 of them, I would go for Wexford.
Paddy, I have a feeling you might go for Kilkenny.
I don't think so. I would say Wexford, just because if you look at, I'll just point out a scenario that Kilkenny could be faced with in the next week or two. They could have to play Cork, they could have played Tip, they could have to play the loser of Clare Watford, maybe Munster final, and then they'd have Galway in the semi-final. So
forget about it. They're gone. John is right. They're finished.
That's doomsday scenario for Kilkenny, but that is really, really tough. So I'd have to say Wexford on the back of that.
If any Kilkenny fans are listening to that, and I know producer Jack is a strong Kilkenny supporter, I'd say It's very worrying, Jack. I'd be turning off tellies and turning off radios if I were you. It looks very doom and gloom for Kilkenny. But moving on to this weekend, and the main reason we have John on is for the big one in Semple Stadium, 4 p.m. Sunday, live on RTE, Cork v Waterford. What a match we have in store. What are you expecting, John?
I'm expecting sweepers. I'm expecting crowded midfield area. I'm expecting Waterford to bring an awful lot of physicality into the middle third of the field. I'm expecting a tactical affair. I'm not expecting the same type of game we've seen between Cork and Tipperary, which was a free-flowing game, which was ebbed and flowed. And I think it's going to be the tailor opposite to that. So for me, I think it might be the game that everyone is predicting it's going to be. I think it's going to be a tight, tense affair, with a bit like last Saturday night. I think it's going to be one around the middle third of the field, where there's going to be an enormous amount of bodies out around that middle third of the field.
Now, a big friend of the show, Stephen Cass, who runs the beautiful Cass & Co. shop, lovely, lovely little cafe, if you want to go into Dungarvan, he's told me, and you might be able to elaborate on this, John, he's a little bit of inside info, and he reckons Tallow's Tommy Ryan could have a big say in this game, might even start. Have you heard any rumours?
Well, the rumour is coming around is that he will be probably one of the first one or two on. He could start. I would like to see him start because, he would inject an awful lot of pace into that Waterford forward line. And I think he's a very dangerous player. He's a goal getter. He can win frees. Since I was there, he's had to physically developing into a really strong player. And he could be an ace in the pack. He could be right. Could well be right. He could be a match winner for Waterford the weekend.
Interesting. Now, Paddy, Stephen Bennett is a man that is turned into a real goal poacher. I think he scored the first goal in 3 of Waterford's league matches. I presume he's hugely popular in the first goal scorer market, is he?
Yeah, he would be. Like he's our favourite for the market because just the rumours that I was hearing that Morris is going to start, and it might just be might even be Patrick Hearn who makes away. But Stephen Bennett he's had a really good year so far, and as you say, he's just a poacher. We're 6-1. I'd expect, even with our money back offer and that as well. So if he scores any time, you get your money back up to 20 quid. So that's definitely going to be popular this weekend. And I couldn't really disagree with anyone. He's hurling really well.
And we spoke a lot already about Waterford, but we can't let that Cork performance go without saying how brilliant they were against Tipperary. My fear is that it's going to be a completely different type of game, which I think everybody expects against Waterford, who have a completely different style to Tipperary. And there's just small rumours going around that Conor Lahan is struggling with an injury. Have you heard that he could be out now?
Yeah, you did hear that, but what I've been kind of hearing more so in the last day or so is that he is going to start. I do think it's a worry for Cork though, because even I think it might have been a groin injury or whatever injury it is. Anyway, it doesn't sound like if there is that much worry about him the week of a game, it's not exactly encouraging for Cork, and it's going to be a completely different game because there's no way he's going to have the space that he had against Tip. As John said, that kind of middle third is going to be so packed out, and Waterford are just basically going to target him because, he just got so much ball against Tip and just made absolute hay out of it. So I'd say that Derek McGrath will have watched that very closely. I think it's going to be very hard for him to have such a dominant game again.
John, what kind of Cork team are we going to see on Sunday? Are we going to see this flamboyant, free scoring, running game with? They were brilliant to watch against Tipperary. Are we going to see that Cork performance, or are we going to see some of the sluggish displays we saw during the league?
Yeah, well, I going back to the league, I went to the league meeting of both these sides, and, I came out of the ground that day. Cork were very impressive that day. They did a very comprehensive win that day, albeit Maurice Shannon was sent off. And I remember leaving the ground that day and thinking to myself, were Waterford, was it a flat performance from Waterford, or were Waterford really bad in the day, or were Cork really good on the day? And for me, Cork were excellent on the day. And the positioning of Conor Lahan in number 11 posed enormous problems for Waterford that day. And then I suppose they'd a couple of lads, a couple of younger lads are thrown in, like Shane Kingston, Luke Mead, Mark Cole and wing back. This lad is a dinger. He was one of my tips to be young hurler of the year this year. And you know, I left the ground that day and I said, geez, have Cork turned the corner? Now, the question for me with Cork is, you know, can you really trust this Cork team? You know, we've seen in the past. You know, I think it's you're going to get the true question, the true answer of Cork the weekend, and can they put back-to-back performances together? But what they have is they have 6 lightning forwards of high quality of skill who can all take a score, and on any given day they can be match winners, as we've seen the last day against Tipperary, where they scored 227 and 121 of that came from play. So they are a dangerous outfit, but if Waterford afford them any space, you know, Cork can punish you on the scoreboard. But as I said, I don't foresee Waterford giving them the type of space that Tipperary afforded to them 4 weeks ago.
Okay, Paddy, let's give us some prices here on the match, both on the handicap and the win market.
Yeah, it's age 13 Waterford 10-1 the draw, 13-8 Cork. Waterford -2 is 11-10. Handicap draw is 10-1, and Cork +2 is 5-6.
Okay, lads, you're going to have to put your neck on the block here. I want 3 selections. Okay, we're going to come to you first, John. I want who's going to win the match, who's your tip for first goal scorer, and who's your tip for man of the match. Everybody likes a little bet at those bigger prices. So who's going to win the match, who's going to get man of the match, and who's going to get the first goal? John Milan.
Right. I'm looking at the odds. I'm looking at Waterford 8-13. I'm looking at that 11-week period where they haven't played a game in 11 weeks. Everything coming out of the camp is that they're after having everything has gone to plan. They're flying in training, and their training camp went very well down in Photo Island. Cork have one game under their belt, albeit it was 4 weeks ago, but that will stand to them. You know, all the talk is Waterford are going to win this game, and they'll win it by 4 or 5 points. But I'm a small bit cautious about this one. I'm optimistic, but I'm cautious. And if I'm looking at a bit of value, would I back Waterford at 8-13? I wouldn't go near Waterford at 8-13. I'm looking at a bit of value, and I'm looking at the draw at odds of 10-1. And I think I might have €10 on the draw the weekend. I'm going to go for Stephen Bennett to be the first goal scorer in the game of 6-1. He was unbelievable last year in that game. And the RT man of the match, I'm going to go for Jamie Barron to be the RT man of the match.
Okay, doke. Some interesting selections there. Who would have thought it? John Milan sitting on the fence and going for a draw. Who would have guessed it?
Well,
Paddy?
no, look, I'm looking at Waterford at 8-13. And I'm looking at value. I'm looking at either Waterford -2 at odds of 11-10. But I just have a funny feeling that I hope I'm wrong. I hope my own county win the weekend. But I just have a funny feeling this is going to be an awful lot closer than people think. And I wouldn't rule out the possibility of a draw. So for a bit of value, I'll have a tenner. I'm going to stick a tenner on the draw the weekend.
Oh, we love a bit of value around here, John. Paddy, same 3 questions to you. Who's going to win the match? Who's going to get man of the match? And who's going to get the first goal?
Yeah, I think, as John says, at the price, people mightn't be mad to get stuck into the 8-13, but I do think Waterford are going to win. I think they're a better team than Cork, and I think they're a team at a better stage in their development as well. Like, there's a lot of potential in that Cork team, but the tip game aside, I think they still have a good bit of development to do. So I'd probably go with Waterford at 8-13. First goal score, I would chance a few quid on Shane Kingston. He's a really, really good hurler. He obviously scored a goal against Tip, and he got 1 or 2 in the league as well, and he just seems to have a bit of an eye for goals. So I think there's around 12-1 out there if you wanted that for first goal score. Man of the match, I actually, I'd row in behind John. I actually backed Mark Coleman the first day, and I thought he was absolutely brilliant. But if I think that Waterford are going to win the match, if it is going to be kind of a cagey affair, a lot of it will come down to kind of Pádraig Mahoney freeze. And if he has any game like he did against, Kilkenny nearly both days last year, I think Pádraig Mahoney is a decent shot as that.
Okie dokes. And I'm going to keep it very simple. Waterford, Shane Bennett for first goal scorer and Shane Bennett for man of the match. That'll be my 3 selections. Very, very quickly, lads, because we're running out of time. Just a very, very quick selection on the Galway Offaly match, the Leinster semi-final in O'Moore Park at 2 p.m. on Sunday. Is this going to be as one-sided as the betting suggests, John?
Oh, without a shadow of a doubt. No disrespect to Offaly, but I mean, we've seen it throughout the course of the league. Both these teams met in Division 1B, and Galway were convincing winners. That the handicap spread is 17 points. You know, it seems an awful lot, but you know, if Galway knock in 4 or 5 goals and they throw up a tally of 22, 23 points, I think they could well cover that 17 point spread. So it's the Galway win, and I think it's a case of what Galway will win by, but I think they might cover that handicap spread of 17.
Perfect. And Paddy, Galway, all one-way traffic?
Yeah, like that's where the 17 is coming from. They scored 6 goals against them in the league, and it's just going to be too hard for Offaly to keep the score down anyway at all. So like, yeah, like I if I was actually had to have a bet on the match, I'd probably back the over points on it, because I think Offaly might get a goal or two, and like they'll put up 17 or 18 points, and Galway will just absolutely like there's no way Galway aren't going to score maybe under 30 in this. I think they're just going to.
What's the total point spread there, Paddy?
I think there is 50.5 out there. We're 51.5.
Okay, 51.5. So over 51.5 points for Paddy Ahern from Paddy Power on Galway v Offaly. So now it's time for the weekend best bets.
This will not be beaten.
We have to go to the Waterford legend first. John Milan, your best bet of the weekend is?
Best bet of the weekend would be Stephen Bennett to get the first goal in the Waterford Cork game. Stephen Bennett at odds of 6-1, and Stephen Bennett to be an anytime goal scorer. I think he'll come in at odds of 7-4 or 2-1. So my bet of the weekend would be Stephen Bennett to be an anytime goal scorer in the game.
So Owen, your best bet of the weekend?
I'm going to have to go Derry -5.
So Derry -5. What price is that, Paddy?
Yeah, it's even money.
Paddy Ahern, your best bet of the weekend?
Yeah, we'll go back to the big ball for this one, and I'm going to go Donny Kingston first goal leash against Wicklow, and anytime as well, 6-4.
6-4 anytime?
Yeah.
That's Donny Kingston, and I have to stay loyal to my Tyrone. My tip for the All-Ireland, I think they will beat the 2-point handicap against, I think you could even, is it a point handicap with you, Paddy?
Yeah, it's a point handicap, yeah.
A point handicap. I think Tyrone will beat Donegal by 2 points or more. What price is that?
Yeah, it is 11 to 10 to win.
11 to 10, Tyrone to win by 2 points or more. You heard it here first. And as you remember, I got last week's snap completely wrong with Mayo. So take of that what you will. That's it for this week, folks. My sincere thanks to John Milan, who has been a terrific guest once again, and to Tyrone's Owen Mulligan, and to Paddy Ahern from Paddy Powers. It's been a terrific show, and don't forget to join us next week.
Paddy's gearing up for the GAA All-Ireland Football and Hurling. For all live TV championship games, it's money back as a free bet if your losing first goal scorer scores a goal anytime. Max £20. Excludes shops. T's and C's apply. 18+. BeGambleAware.org.